Hello there guys, Dave Nader here, and today I have another book review. Today I'm reviewing the 6th entry in J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter series, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Now, I will probably give away some spoilers, namely for the climax of Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix at some point in this review. But that's just to be forewarned. This is going to be a mainly spoiler-free review. Anyways, as for the plot description, this book starts out with Harry Potter still recovering from the tragedy that occurred at the end of Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. You can still barely believe that it happened. But then, when he's waiting in his house, he gets picked up by Dumbledore, and on the way to the Burrow, they stop by to pick up a guy named Horace Slughorn, who is going to become the new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher at Hogwarts, yet again. Where is he? So, after Harry stays at the Burrow for a time, that he begins to suspect that Draco Malfoy may be up to something, and he may be in league with the Death Eaters and Voldemorts. But before they can think too much about that, they finally arrive at Hogwarts, and they quickly realize that actually Horace Slughorn is going to be the new potions teacher, and taking over Defense Against the Dark Arts, finally Severus Snape gets to have the job that he always wanted to have at Hogwarts. And of course, Harry, Ron, Hermione are pretty bummed out about that. And again, there are some kind of suspicious things going on with Draco Malfoy. And at the same time, Harry Potter is getting some lessons from Dumbledore personally, because at this point, the whole Wizarding world realizes that Voldemort is out and about and doing some bad stuff because of the end of Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. And the former Minister of Magic, Cornelius Fudge, has been let go, and now his job has been taken over by Rufus Scrimgeour, a man who is more gruff and tough than Fudge was, but still he has some disagreements with Dumbledore, so there's a bit of conflict there. And all these things pile up together to make one of the best books in the series. Now, I don't want to just, because in my past reviews for the Harry Potter series, I've kind of repeated myself a little bit at times, just saying, like, the characters are so good, and the action's great, and it's so clever and funny, and great dialogue, and so well, because that all stands in this book. The characters are as great as ever, the fact that over such a prolonged period of time, over this many books, J.K. Rowling has still consistently kept these characters as great as ever and add new things to their characters to make them more and more compelling as the books go along, and for their characters to grow and develop and mature as people, and for that to just consistently be so entertaining and enthralling and to capture attention so much through all these novels is great. But I have already mentioned that several times, so I'm not going to dwell on that so much, just the same as I'm not going to dwell too much on the fact that the book has great dialogue as ever. It's great and funny when it needs to be, but it's also very dramatic and creepy and suspenseful when it needs to be. All the new characters are great. Horace Slughorn, he's kind of an interesting fellow, I wasn't exactly sure what to make of him at first, but I like this character. I like the scenes involving him. Old returning characters, side characters, Fred and George, they're hilarious, although, of course, they stopped going to Hogwarts after Order of the Phoenix, because that was their 7th year, and of course they ended up leaving halfway through the year, and now they own their own store, Weasley's Wizard Wheezes, and there's some very clever stuff involving the gadgets and things that they sell to students, even though those things aren't allowed at the school. Hagrid, as lovable and nice as ever. McGonagall, very good character. She's, again, very lovable and likable character. Strict, but, you can tell that she really cares about Harry and Ron and Hermione, all the students of the school. Severus Snape, you get to see a bit of him, or a bit more of him in the book. It was great to see him finally getting the job as Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. But again, all these characters, they're as great as ever, and the dialogue is great and witty. The book is incredibly well paced. This might be the least action-packed of the series, but specifically in the climax is very exciting, great action, and more on that later. So yeah, just all the great things that I praised in the past Harry Potter books, they still stand here. This is a great book for all those reasons, but I don't want to dwell on that too much. So, let's talk about some other things. In this book, when Harry has lessons with Dumbledore, what they're doing is going in the Pensieve, looking at other people's and Dumbledore's memories to find out more about Tom Marvolo Riddle, or Lord Voldemort, to find out why he is the way he is, to find out more things about him, and, in a know your enemy sort of way, trying to find out how to stop him. And I always loved the Pensieve, and I always loved to see Dumbledore, but you don't get to see that much of either in these books. But you get a lot more of that. Dumbledore finally has been in... Dumbledore is in Half-Blood Prince a lot. And that was so great to see, because easily he's been one of my favorite characters throughout the entire series. If not my favorite character, he just might be. He's really great, I was kind of concerned going into the series, like, is he just going to come off like a ripoff of Gandalf? No, fantastic, awesome, clever and witty, lovable character, and you get to see a whole lot more of him. There's a lot of great dialogue involving him and Harry, and I love all the sequences to where they go into the Pensieve. It's very interesting, very atmospheric. There's a lot of creepy stuff going on here, and of course you get to find out a good bit more about Lord Voldemort, and that was great to see, because Lord Voldemort, out of all the important characters in these books, he's the one who's shown up the least. I mean, you really don't even see him in the first few books, really. He barely shows up at all, and generally only shows up like near the end. He's just been a guy that's been lurking in the shadows, and he's just been a myth and a legend, and that was great because, that built up a mythology around the character, and like Lord Voldemort, like, just don't even say his name, just refer to him as he who must not be named, or who. So it builds up a great mythology about his character, but you didn't actually get to know all that much about him. But here, you get to develop his character, and on top of the mythology that's already been built up around this character, it just forms a great villain. Lord Voldemort is a really cool character, and it's great to find out a bit more about his childhood and see that he's a more relatable character than you may think, and that was really cool to see. And of course, the title, Half-Blood Prince, Harry Potter in his new potions class, with Horace Slughorn, he gets a new book because he wasn't able to buy a new book for the potions class, so he has to have a used copy that was previously owned by someone who refers to themselves as the Half-Blood Prince. And that's not really something that the book focuses on too much, but it certainly does become more important later on, because this Half-Blood Prince really had a knack for potions and was apparently a very talented student. And but there's no information about him anywhere. The characters have no idea who he was, and eventually start to think that this person might have had more malevolent agendas going on. So that's that's just a side mystery that's really interesting to go back to on occasion. And Hermione does not approve of Harry owning this copy of the book. But overall, it's just the mystery aspect is great. The book is very exciting. I loved seeing a lot more of Dumbledore, and you find out a lot more about Voldemort. All the characters that are returning, they're as great as ever. They're utilized in just the right aspect. I love seeing Neville turn up. I loved seeing Luna Lovegood. Fleur Delacour. In my Goblet of Fire review, I think I accidentally called her De Fleur instead of Fleur Delacour. But anyways, Fleur Delacour, she's getting married to Bill, Ron's older brother, and that was kind of funny to see. Miss Weasley doesn't know if she approves of that, and Ginny Weasley definitely doesn't. Speaking of Ginny and Harry, there's some stuff that goes down between them in this book, and I was worried that it might come off as corny. It doesn't. It's really heartwarming. That's the best thing you could say about it. The book doesn't focus on it too much, doesn't focus on it too little, so it feels insignificant. It's just the perfect amount, it's great. And the climax of this book, very exciting, very inventive and clever. It's one of the biggest things that's happened in really it's the most monumental event that has happened in all these books so far, more monumental than anything that happened in Goblet of Fire or Order of the Phoenix. It's a big action scene, there's a lot of stuff that happens, and it's very emotional and sad, and I won't actually get into spoilers, but it's, if you don't know about what happens at the end, it's great. There's great moments of emotion and drama, also great dialogue interspersed between the action. The build-up to it is very intense and suspenseful and atmospheric and exciting. It's just a great sequence, and really, namely because of the end, but also the rest of the book, this is the most emotionally impactful book in the series for me personally, and Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince yet another Harry Potter book to get an A plus from me. I love this book, fantastic book. I'm not sure that I like it as much as Order of the Phoenix, but it's about on the level of Prisoner of Azkaban for me. Maybe a little bit, a smidgen under that. You know, it's a great book, paced very well. It's totally worth reading, and personally I think it's one of the best entries in the series. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. If you like it, please rate and comment and subscribe, and if you want to, you can also share. Goodbye, guys.